So the Philadelphia Eagles have signed a fullback. The Eagles released a wide receiver. And on the back half of the show, why Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni deserves Coach of the Year recognition. We're diving into all of this. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for hanging out here with us. Eagles signing a fullback. We know that on Friday, unfortunately, linebacker and fullback Ben Van Sumeren, during a practice session for Philadelphia, in the lead up to that Ravens game, suffered a season-ending knee injury. And so Kellen Moore had been using a fullback, implementing that type of feature into this number one rushing attack for the Birds. And then going against the Ravens, the Eagles didn't have a fullback on the roster. Now they do. Philadelphia signing Khari Blasingame after that Ben Van Sumeren season-ending injury. The Eagles did place Van Sumeren on season-ending IR, and Blasingame being signed as a fullback option will help out Kellen Moore create more with this Eagles running attack, which is averaging about 193 rushing yards per game. And it's not like Kellen Moore was using a fullback a lot, but in particular scenarios and situations throughout a ball game, Kellen Moore was using a fullback at his disposal, short yardage, around the goal line. Even when the Eagles were backed up on their own goal line against the New York Giants, that was really the first time that we saw number 57 in the backfield for the Eagles lined up as a fullback. Kellen Moore used a fullback in that type of set. So when the Eagles really want to play smash mouth, bully ball, short yardage, or when the situation calls for it, or Kellen Moore wants to get creative, add a wrinkle to this offense, he's used a fullback, and now Blasingame is going to be able to add that feature for Philadelphia. On Sunday, we did see C.J. Uzomah in some heavy looks when the Eagles wanted to bring some big bodies on the field. He also lined up as a split eye on a couple of occasions that I noticed when I was watching that game live. Just not a traditional fullback, whereas Blasingame is 28 years old, has some good size to him. 6 feet, 233 pounds, a smart guy. He played his college football at Vanderbilt, spent his 4 years there from 2015 to 2018, undrafted free agent in 2019, signed by Minnesota, spent a year there, and then was with Tennessee during that same year, 2019 through 2021, and then with the Chicago Bears from 2022 through 2024, and has played 66 games with 21 starts. You look at his games played by year, and of course, on top of being with the Bears, he's now signing with Philadelphia during the 2024 campaign. 3 games in 2019, 15 in 2020, 11 in 2021, 16 in 2022, 16 in 2023, only 2 this year. A reason why the Bears had no use for him? Well, they're not using a fullback now with Caleb Williams. They had a new offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron, and then they fired him. And now Thomas Brown was the interim OC. He's now the interim head coach, stepping in for Matt Eberflus. So the offense has changed for Chicago in 2024, where they haven't had to utilize a fullback. Throughout his career, 11 carries for 22 yards, 13 catches for 99 yards. Limited usage there, but used a lot as a primary and lead blocker. Now, oftentimes here on the show, we show you these relative athletic scores. The graphics have gotten a lot cleaner over the last couple of years, but in the pre-draft process, during pro days and during the NFL scouting combine, these are very popular because they grade athletes on an athletic score and testing score of 0 to 10. And so when you see a lot of green, that's of course very good. But for him as a fullback to earn a 971 RAS score, that's pretty impressive, and at 233 pounds, he ran pretty well in the pre-draft process. He ran a 4.55, so he can move pretty well. The corresponding roster move for the Eagles, because they're signing Blasingame to the practice squad, they have released wide receiver John Ross from the taxi squad. So they add a player, they let go of a player here. Plenty more to get to here on the show, but today's sponsor, our friends at Game Time. What time is it? Game Time. If you want the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, an app where the prices drop as the event gets closer, you got to download the Game Time app, the best app in the ticketing marketplace. I use this all the time. I love their flash deals, zone deals, and it's also really cool because I'm very busy, right? Sometimes I can't make plans in advance, and so the more that you wait until the start of the game or concert, comedy show, theater event, and more, the more that prices drop. The Eagles do return home to Philadelphia this upcoming Sunday, Week 14, to host the Carolina Panthers, a team that has been feisty over the last couple of weeks. And they just took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to overtime. If you want to go to that game, plenty of tickets available. I love the vantage point that you get from your seats because you also have the price point so you can see what you'll be seeing when you're at the venue. But this bird's eye view is also pretty cool. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. As we always do with our lovely sponsors, we'll put that link down below in the show notes, and we'll attach it to the pinned comment of today's Eagles Now. Let's move forward here. Could Nick Sirianni win Coach of the Year? I don't think he's going to win it, but he should at least be in the running for it and in the conversation. And I want to bring this to the forefront after I saw this graphic on social media. These odds via BetMGM and the 2024 Coach of the Year odds as of right now are as such. Dan Campbell leading the way at plus 110. Mike Tomlin at plus 450. Kevin O'Connell at plus 450 as well. You have Jim Harbaugh at 6-1. And then you have Sean Payton at plus 650. Nick Sirianni not in the top 5. Nick Sirianni not mentioned there. But this is why I think Nick Sirianni deserves recognition to win Coach of the Year. Think about how ugly the year was last year for Philadelphia coming off that Super Bowl loss in 2022. They lost 6 of their final 7 games. And the way that the Eagles just choked away the season, it was abysmal. It was really hard to watch. And there was a dark cloud hovering over this organization. And the vibes on the sideline, the body language on the sideline, it was not good. And then the Eagles get blown out in the playoffs by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Sirianni was firmly on the hot seat. A big portion of this fan base wanted him fired. And then the Eagles start off slow this year, and even when Philadelphia beat the Browns coming off the bye week, fans still wanted him fired because the Eagles were not playing up to their level of capabilities. But now Philadelphia's won 8 games in a row. They are 10-2, the hottest team in football, the number 2 seed in the NFC, right on the heels of the Detroit Lions, and they look like a bona fide Super Bowl contender. And Nick Sirianni is a big reason for that. Knocked it out of the park with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio as his coordinator hires. Culture, player development, coaching, fundamentals, discipline, they all matter. So too does managing the game. And then the players having trust in the coach and the coach having trust in the players, that goes a long way in having a successful team. And Nick Sirianni is known as a coach who is all about the vibes. He's all about the culture. Look at how these players are enjoying one another and enjoying playing football, and look at the positive energy on the sideline. That is a drastic change from last year, and Nick Sirianni has helped to lead that charge. So he might not win Coach of the Year, but he at least deserves recognition. Now let's talk about the 5 coaches who are leading the odds here. Dan Campbell, number 1 seed in the NFC. Lions are hot. They've had to overcome a lot of defensive injuries. That is a stacked team. And guess what? The knock on Nick Sirianni, Chase, he doesn't call plays. The 2 leaders in Coach of the Year odds don't call plays. Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin. Being a head coach doesn't just come down to calling plays. You know who else doesn't call plays? Jim Harbaugh. It's not all about play calling, ladies and gentlemen. So Dan Campbell, probably the best team in football from poll to poll so far. That's why he's leading the odds here. Mike Tomlin, nobody really expected Pittsburgh to be where they are right now. Started the year with Justin Fields, then went to Russell Wilson. That was looked at as controversial when he made the switch. Russell Wilson's really lifted up that offense. Credit to him. I thought he was cooked. He's played very good football this year. That Steelers defense is phenomenal, and I do think the Steelers are a factor in the AFC. And we'll get a look at Pittsburgh coming up, not this week, but the next. A great game going down at Lincoln Financial Field. Kevin O'Connell, this is a great coaching job. Nobody envisioned Sam Darnold having, I think, 23 touchdowns this year, which is top 5 among quarterbacks, and him leading a Vikings team that's been one of the best record teams in the National Football League, leading game-winning drives. Like, part of being a great coach is elevating your players, especially the quarterback position. And Kevin O'Connell has done that with Sam Darnold, who I think last year, spending the year with San Francisco, allowing him to kind of sit back, look at a well-run operation and organization, be a backup on a team that went to the Super Bowl, did him wonders. But Kevin O'Connell's been coaching his tail off this year. Jim Harbaugh, another team with the Los Angeles Chargers that has completely flipped the expectations of people. Nobody thought the Chargers were going to make the playoffs with how bad they were last year under the under the Brandon Staley regime, and out there in LA, it was also ugly there last year. So Jim Harbaugh's done a great job of changing the culture with the Chargers. Again, culture matters when it comes down to the head coaching spot. And then, very much like Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton developing the heck out of Bo Nix. And there's that great story that Sean Payton saw Bo Nix at his pro day throw like 20, 25 passes, and he said, that's my guy. And he picked him at number 12. And Bo Nix has been playing at a really good level. Outdueled Jameis Winston on Monday Night Football in a very entertaining game. 73 combined points. But what's the common theme here? Really outside of the Lions. These teams have all exceeded expectations. They've been a lot better than what people anticipated going into 2024, and that's great coaching. But the Eagles are also exceeding expectations. It doesn't just come down to talent, and these teams do have some talent. Don't forget to hit that sub button here. We're approaching 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're all real ones, and we appreciate you.